speaker, Professor Iain Bruce. Iain is probably no stranger to any of us in this college, because starting from about 10 years ago, Iain has been visiting NCKU almost annually to help us to do several things. One is English teaching, the other is PPL teaching, and the other is teaching in English. I know there are many complaints about the English drive in Taiwan, but Dr. Iain Bruce and I were colleagues for about 10 years, in Hong Kong University, before I came to Taiwan. And now he's a professor in Hangzhou, Zhejiang University, for almost 2 years. So we're really happy to have him here to stay with us for 2 weeks to give us 3 talks, in addition to help us in teaching small groups. Today his talk will be on scientific writing. Iain has tremendous experience dealing with English writing papers, proposals of Chinese scholars and students in Hong Kong, in China, and in Taiwan. In fact, Iain was telling me that he had many identities. So, including an identity from Taiwan, including ID from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China. So, I think it's very appropriate for him to give this talk on scientific writing again. He gave several talks, similar talks, to Chinese people, and as you probably realize that it is very difficult to learn scientific writing through a single lecture. So today is going to give first an hour's talk on the general principles of writing, and followed by a 10 minutes break, in which you are allowed, you can put in your questions on a piece of paper, and then we'll sit over there in the next 28 minutes, during which he and I will sit to answer your questions on writing. And then followed by another 30 minutes, he will conduct exercise how to do the writing. That will be today's 2 hours program. So let us welcome Professor Iain Bruce.
Thank you very much, Professor Poon. It's always a great pleasure to come back to Thailand, but it's a really great pleasure in the winter because it's so cold in Hangzhou. After so many years living in Hong Kong, I really don't like the winter anymore. All right, this talk is scientific writing for young investigators whose first language is Chinese. And it's divided into 3 parts. And the first part will be very brief. I'll just talk a little bit about sources of information, particularly on the internet, that can be very useful. The second part is the main part. Now, it's impossible to give a talk on how to write and expect anyone in the audience to walk out now knowing how to write. You know, it's not like teaching somebody about the neuromuscular junction. You can teach them how it works, and when they leave, they know it. But writing is a different kind of skill, and it's almost impossible to teach. I understand that you've had an excellent talk from Bill Frank from the point of view of an editor of papers, which taught you all about common errors and how to fix them, and that's very important stuff. But I'm going to approach it from the point of view of the person who is trying to write a first draft for the first time. I've been through all this. I went through the horrible agony of writing a PhD thesis more than 20 years ago. Many of you are doing that now. And then, of course, the agony of writing papers. So over the last decades, I've learned some tricks which can be useful to anybody who's getting started. So in the middle part, I'll concentrate on telling you about those tricks in the hope that you can use them to help you get started with less pain. And then in the last part, which is also brief, I'm going to tell you about a few words which I see thousands of times per week in manuscripts that are submitted to me and which drive me crazy. And it's only 5 or 6 words, so I hope you will write them down and then never use them again as long as you live. And I feel I will have done a great service to editors all over the world. Okay, let's begin. This is my name, Iain Bruce. The background is my family tartan, because I'm originally from Scotland. And this is my present email address, which if you like you can write down. So after I have left Taiwan and gone back to Hangzhou, if you have any questions or would like to discuss anything with me, you can contact me at that address. Now, when anybody is doing anything nowadays, the first thing they do, including me, is get on the internet and find out if the answer is there. Now, each of you belongs to a particular discipline, dermatology, pediatrics, physiology, whatever. You certainly have at least one international organization for your specialty. My advice is find that organization, go to its website, and search through the website to see if there's anything there that can help you about writing in English for international publications. And you can be very pleasantly surprised by what you find. I'll just show you an example from my field, which happens to be neuroscience, but it's just an example. So this IBRO is the International Brain Research Organization, so it's the worldwide brain research unit. If you go there, you find this website, and in the list here is a variety of things, but there's one title here, Education and Training. So if you look at that, education and training, variety of things here, the schools they put on, training programs. And there is this area called Map and Compass, which is specifically designed for young investigators. Lots of good stuff here. What to do when you're going to a scientific meeting, how to give a talk, how to present a poster, how to write a grant. All the kinds of things that we really need to know to survive nowadays. And writing a scientific paper. So if we go down to writing a scientific paper, we find, we find this. A book in PDF format, which is free to download, and which is